I couldn't help but think with these election results that every vote that went Republican, I just had to think, what were they thinking? They must have been drinking. Here's the Republicans trying to maneuver to cut out your Social Security. And yet you vote for them? And here's Republicans raising the level of arsenic in your water supply. And you voted for them? Here's the Republicans who blocked legislation that would have allowed women to get the same pay as men. And Republicans blocked that. And people voted Republican? Women voted Republican? And the list goes on and on and on of things that they actually did, not this hysteria of right-wing radio hiding and spinning off and giving you fear of the immigrants, fear of the Muslim, fear. Don't look at your history to see how the U.S. foreign policy created the Islamic extremists. Don't look at your history to say and find out for yourself that U.S. foreign policy created the poverty disaster in all points Mexico South. That the U.S. was busy supporting and creating dictatorships throughout Latin America to crush human rights. And then they're standing up at home telling us, oh, you get America, you get freedom of speech, you get free, you're free. And there's the U.S. busy supporting dictatorships, and even creating them, that actively crushed freedoms. That's not, that's so overt hypocrisy that you just say, that's not what you want to continue. You don't need that double standard at all in a real world, even though they try and say, that's sort of fanciful thinking that somehow we're going to kind of pressure other countries to have open elections, uncensored news media, an array of civil rights that include equal rights for women, homosexuals, the right to vote, to participate in some way in this management of their country that reflects the public's input, not the dictators' demands and the corporation scams that keep poisoning and polluting everybody, and not the Catholic Church throughout Latin America that is in cahoots with all those corporations. The Catholic Church, no birth control, no abortion, no. And look at Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Panama, just go down the line. You got overpopulation. You got poverty. And all that's from the wacko dark age religion telling them no birth control, no abortion, no, babies. Well, look what happens when you got babies, and babies. Overpopulation, poverty, disaster and sanitation, healthcare, forget it. Poverty. And here they come in this caravan coming up through Latin America, trying to get the hell out of there, start a new life. Desperate, so desperate with the America's drug war failure, fraud. The drug war is so lunatic failure that it's just hard to even believe that somehow anybody still thinks that has any validity. And yet there it is, still being showing up. And what do people say out of Latin America? It's right in there and all down there. Drug gangs, billionaire drug gangs that run the government, run the police force. All of them in place because of American foreign policy. Drug war. Chaos. Crime. It's lunatic stuff. And the USA created it. And every year the U.S. continues this stupidity of the drug war. You're giving billions and billions of dollars to criminal enterprise. Now that's pretty stupid. And why do you keep doing that? Well, you're not facing reality. And most of the public, I think, is starting to get a little tired of this too, actually. You know, it's just once again, people in public office, they don't have the guts to say, you got to end the drug war. We have to legalize drugs. We have to run the business, not criminal enterprise. Yeah, simple, straightforward as that. But there isn't a candidate who dares to say that at all. So this disaster of war on drugs, with all its criminal profits going, it's crazy. Then we're still waiting for, where's that candidate? To at least bring up the issue. At least it's a very big issue. It's nationwide. It's international. You got to face the fact that there is a drug market. There is a certain amount of interest in intoxication. If you hadn't noticed, that's reality. And you have to run it. You're still going to have it. Yes, we're going to have it. Yep. It's going to be legal. Yep. But you're going to run it with transparent oversight, legislation, age access controls, all that kind of stuff. And education. Education. Big part of legalization. Education. Not scare tactics, that old crap. They had two, this, a lot of you probably remember this ad that was going around. Had a frying pan, cast iron black frying pan. In it are 2 eggs, and they're just kind of sizzling. And the ad says, this is your mind on drugs. That's the stupidity level of what they thought was education. That didn't get you anything. That's stupid. What you got to get is into the facts. And we have to talk about it's going to be legal. And once it's legal, you still have responsibility. In fact, you got a lot more responsibility. You're getting freedom to this range of intoxicants. Your personal level of responsibility just went up dramatically. Because we're not going back to the stupidity of prohibition. So we're going to have to run it, and we're going to have oversight, and we're going to have education. And part of that education is the responsibility factor. That you're not going to get away with saying, I didn't know. You're going to be educated. And you're going to know your responsibility to the rest of us. And they have legal access. In exchange, you get legal access. But you got to demonstrate and continue to demonstrate responsibility all the way through. You don't drive drunk. Now, some people, as you know, nothing is 100%. All these right-wing nuts keep going saying, oh, you can't legalize drugs because, it'll be. Nothing's 100%. But it's a hell of a lot better when we run the business and have oversight of it than it is to give billions of dollars to criminal enterprises. And that's all there is to it. We have to run the business. So all this type of thing starts, what has to be discussed, and nobody's discussing it in the public sphere, Republicans sure are, because they're part of the old stupidity. They really, as a party, seem to really endorse all that stupid repression. Everything's repression with Republicans. Everything's fearful. Oh, fearful. And they're always, look at them now with these Trump wackos. They're all aggressive, angry, right-wing nuts, religious fascists. And on top of that, Republicans are in cahoots with Nazis. See, I think a lot of you who are listening in, you agree with this. It seems quite obvious. It seems quite obvious. There's no way of getting around it, some of this stuff. That everything Republican is tied to these, right now, kind of quasi-racist, obvious racist people, ethics, and to these Christian wacko extremists. America isn't a religious state. There is a separation of church and state. So how are these Christian wackos trying to push their Christian morality as legislation? It doesn't make, that doesn't, in a constitutional way, it doesn't fit. So, of course, the Christian wackos are trying to hide everything about anti-abortion. Trying to hide it, to squiggle around, where really the only thing is, it's their stupid religion trying to force their attention on the whole country and all women. Force their morality. Instead of facing reality. Because we're in the 21st century. We're not in the Dark Ages. And that whole religious thing, justifiably, is way down the line from the important thing of government. Because our government says, we the people. That's the focus of government. That's the direction of government. It's all of us. It isn't one group. It isn't one race. It doesn't say, we the white people. It doesn't say, we the Christians. It doesn't say, we the corporations. And it doesn't say, we the banks. It says, we the people. The focus, and right away that means equal rights. But religion don't get a picture into play at all. At all. You don't care what your religion is. You don't care what your morality is. Don't care. Legislation is not religion. Religion is not legislation. Here it's we the people. And that's the first consideration and continuing consideration. But all these Republicans now are just Christian wackos. Banning all over, saying, not only no abortion, no birth control, no climate change. Some of these people, these Republicans, are trying to tell you it isn't climate change because of their book, that Christian book. What's that thing? The Bible. It ain't going to happen because it says so in the Bible. A book of myths is what's guiding instead of reality? That is how we are This is what we found out from the 2018 elections. The 2018 elections here. What is it? What is America? What's so obvious about things that have to change? Who's the party that's these Republicans, just say it. These Republicans have been for years trying to block people from voting, American citizens from voting. They got legislation they've been pushing and all, once again, squirming around when really all they're trying to do is try and keep you from voting. Well, folks, an enterprise that's trying to keep you from voting is a criminal enterprise. That's just not political maneuvering. Blocking you from voting is a criminal enterprise. You hear it, you saw it all the time this time. It's been going on for years. Republicans closed down the number of polling places so it limits the access of people, intentionally making it hard for people to vote. When in the real system we supposedly have here, it should be the opposite. We try and make it more available so we get out easier and get more people involved so we really have some representation. We got some ideas. The public says this, because we got everybody voting. But here you got Republicans trying to stop that, block that. And those are just facts, Those are what's killing them. That's why they hate the news media. Republicans hate the news media. You've been hearing it since Nixon. Why? Because news media keeps digging up the facts that say Republicans are actually a criminal enterprise. Republicans are actually out here stopping you from voting. Republicans are out here actually embracing religious extremism. Republicans are out here actually colluding with Russia, a foreign power. They're that desperate to try and sway the election to their right-wing agenda. So of course they don't want you listening to the variety of news programs, getting any independent news. Oh no, of course the Republicans created Fox News. Remember Roger Ailes? He was this rich friend of the criminal Nixon. Ailes went out and intentionally created Fox News to be Republican right-wing propaganda. You should know that by now. They don't have any validity as a news organization. They are completely propaganda. Intentional propaganda. And it should be starting to address that other media just start mentioning that. It'd be okay. That politicians mention, right-wing Fox News. Or CNN or ABC, NBC, any of them say, well, it came from right-wing Fox News. That's okay. Because they are. Fox News is that. And it would be okay if there was, in our freedom of speech, access to information, which is crucial to you, that we also are quite well aware that, you can have progressive, intentionally progressive, liberal, whatever you want to call it out there. 21st century people, intelligent people, have news sources too that say the same thing. Right-wing Fox News. Progressive, MSNBC or whatever it is, sort of is intentionally progressive. But at least you're an informed consumer. You don't think, well, there's only Fox News. I mean, isn't that okay? Isn't that just how news is, Huh? You don't sound very smart when you just say, that's all you're watching, Fox News? That's what you think is news? Do you actually think that's news? And it does. You think it actually doesn't have a right-wing slant? Of course it does. So you can then, once you know, and it's well understood in the public, that, well, I heard it on Fox News. Well, then it's right-wing nut stuff. Okay. They still can have their access. Constitutional, free of speech, sure, fine. Well, you have to be honest about what it is. That's okay. That's fair. But you sure can see why Republicans don't like an open, uncensored news media at all. It found out about Nixon. It found out about his vice president, who had to leave the vice presidency because he was brought into court and convicted of criminal enterprise. Vice President Spiro Agnew. Happened with Reagan, digging up all that stuff on his cocaine trafficking scam, bringing thousands of tons of cocaine into the USA. Reagan was. You ought to know that. Iran-Contra affair. It's fact. It's pretty well understood as fact. Now, they were trying to, that can't be true. Oh, no, that can't. Oh, man, you're allowed to bring in. And here's Ronnie Boy standing going, just say no to drugs. When he's the biggest cocaine kingpin. President of the United States. Well, news media found it out. Don't like that. And you go down, he's Bush Cheney. Get all the news media going about his lies about the excuses to invade Iraq. The wreck in Iraq. And then all the news of just reporting of what a screw up, what a chaos, what a bunch of lies we were fed about the invasion in Iraq and the repercussions. Pointing out Republican fraud again, see? Of course they don't like the news media. It keeps pointing it out. Because it's there. It's actually being done. So from the 2018 elections, we learned a lot. Should have been pretty clear. What is America now?